Can you move it a little up?
No, I'm not up. Since of the Grammarian, I just want to take photo.
This you cannot click down. Will get little up.
Go stand there.
It has to be given.
Yeah, that's right.
Personal comment available. Right up.
Oh, but this much Ganesh. It's 10:19. We can start at 10:30. I think we should be able to. Julia, join. I don't see a name. Not yet.
Yes. I think you should.
Toastmasters Prasanna. Fantastic Sunday morning. Your president, fellow members, yes. Welcome to Meadows Toastmasters Club. Toastmasters Club, founded by Ralph C. Smedley in 1924, which has helped 2 million people in 145 countries. I'd like to begin by stating the mission of Toastmasters Club. We provide a supportive, positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and creative skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and billionaire investor Warren Buffett says that one skill will boost your career value by 50%. Can anyone say which skill it was? Absolutely. Public speaking. He was terrified of public speaking. He was so nervous. The fact that he would arrange and choose his college classes to avoid having to get up in front of them. I don't have to tell you how he conquered the fear. He proudly displays his Toastmasters membership certificate in his office. Some rules to be respected during the meeting. Keep your mobile phones inside. That's all. And last but not the least, some of the topics that are highly entertaining to some members may not be appropriate for other audiences. Hence, be a little sensitive when talking about subject like politics, etc. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Shyamla, our president.
Very good morning to each one. And finally, an in-person meeting. The energy in the room is palpable. And once again, Tom Meadows leads the way. We're having the first in-person meeting, and I'm told by these gorgeous young ladies who also have to lead the meeting. Thank you. On that note, without much ado, I would like to start the meeting. And since I'm also double acting as a TMOD, please help me to introduce the topic. How many of you read what the topic is? Yes.
Topic of the day is change, but growth is optional.
Changes.
Change is optional. Growth is
No, change is inevitable. Growth is optional. And how many of us know whose words? If chivalry had a name, it would be you, Toastmaster Ganesh, but it is not me. It is by John Maxwell. John Maxwell is one of the finest leadership coaches, and it was he who said that change is optional, but growth is inevitable. What do you mean by that? It is very applicable in our personal lives, our professional lives. But since we are in the Valentine month, I might as well just extrapolate what this means in the personal life. How many of us feel that over a period of time, the relationship changes? Be it with a parent, a sibling, a friend, a spouse, a partner? Yes? I mean, you no longer are with the person that you met. So change is inevitable. Change happens whether or not. But what happens when something changes? Do we close? Do we be open to communication? Do we want to make the relationship work? And that is what enables growth of the relationship, when people are willing to explore beyond the seeming incompatibilities that arise on a short-term basis. So whether we are wanting change or not, change is going to happen. And why just look outward? Look at our own selves. Are our choices the same that were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, or even 6 months ago? But how has the situation or the choice enabled us to mold ourselves into growth? Something is not going great in the personal front, something is not going great in the health front, or with professionally. What do I do? Is there some lesson to be learned? That moment of change is what enables the caterpillar to grow and progress. That moment of change is the end of your comfort zone, and dare to take that leap. So during the course of today, we will explore changes that each of us want to share. But without much ado, I would like to please invite Toastmaster Francis, the General Evaluator, who's please together.
So once again, a very good morning to all the Toastmasters present here. And finally, after a couple of years, we are here back in the same floor, which we used to come and get together to have our Toastmasters meeting. And back to those days in which you get your butterfly in your stomach, in which, when you're called upon as a table topic master or a table topic speaker, you get your butterflies in your moment. So those days are back. So I'm so happy to see all of you. It's a couple of people, I think Toastmaster Shyamla and Toastmaster Ganesh and Toastmaster Srinivas. These are the only people who I have met before in the Toastmasters Club. But I see all new faces, everybody's new, most of them. A lot of great connections I've been able to make. So I'm very grateful to this community to give me this opportunity to meet a lot of new people and expand my networking. So coming back to my role, I will be the general evaluator for the day. So I hope most of you are aware of the role a general evaluator will be performing. So my role as a general evaluator is to evaluate the entire session right from the beginning, the moment all of us come inside, including the networking session, to the time that the Toastmasters session starts, and till the time that the table topic session and the evaluation of the timer, our counter, and the grammarian is done. So I'll be going through each of these moments and noting down the good and the not so good usages that the people tend to do during they are on stage, and then I'll be presenting that at the end of the session. So that also has to improve the quality of the entire meeting over the course of the time, and our club gets to a different level soon. So yeah, so that's the basic role of an evaluation. This is an evaluation that is very candid. All of us just want each other to improve. So there's nothing to take away from here. All that you have to take away is the improvement points that you get, but no hard feelings. Even though you get a little harsh evaluation by a speaker, a speech evaluator, or a tag team member, you just have to work on it. Nobody's going to judge you later on from the moment that you leave this floor. So that's how open this community is. So let's leverage the power of the strength that this community is giving to all of us, and improve on our communication leadership skills and so on. So to help me with evaluating the entire session, I have an amazing set of 3 members. They're also called the tag team members. So I'll be introducing them. So first we have the timer Toastmasters Srinivas. Over to you, Toastmasters Srinivas. Before I call on Toastmasters Srinivas, I would like to say let's avoid shaking hands the next time. Because the times have changed, so let's change along with it. So, probably if you want, like,
times have changed for a brief period. Now I think we're back to the modern times. Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. Life and time are the best teachers. Life teaches us the use of time, and time teaches us value of time. Psychological research makes it clear that you will be happier if you see time as more valuable. People who respect time are more confident and have a good image. Toastmasters and guests. One important skill of a good speaker is to express a thought within a specific time. At the time of today, I'll be monitoring and helping the contestants manage the time. I'll display the green card when minimum time is reached, yellow card during the mean time, and red card during when the maximum time is reached. The contestant whose speech time is less than the minimum or more than the maximum time will be disqualified. For example, prepared speeches shall be from 4 to 6 minutes. I'll be flashing green card at the end of 4 minutes, yellow card at the end of 5 minutes, and red card at the end of 6 minutes. For table topics, green card will be shown at the end of 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. There will be a report at the end of the meeting, and all the best to the contestant, speaker, and other contestants. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmasters Srinivas, for that great introduction of the timer's role. So it's going to be quite different. There we have a person just changing their background screens, but here you actually get to see the color. So I think Toastmaster Purushottam can just move over to that, because I think he don't know like complete time on cards. Yeah. So yeah, now it's much better. So yeah, moving on to help me with the arc counting and stuff, to just find out the filler words and so on. So I have an arc counter with me. That is Toastmaster Prasanna. Here's the arc counter, right? So you can come over and explain these things.
The purpose of the arc counter is to note any overused words or filler sounds such as crunch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as and, well, but, so, and you know. Sounds may be or as a counter of yours. I will be noting down those kind of words and producing the instruction.
thank you, Toastmaster Prasanna, for briefly explaining the role that you will be doing during the course of the meeting. Moving on, we have the last tag team member, and that is the Grammarian. Toastmaster Aparna is all set with her laptop devices to track everybody's grammatical errors. So yeah, over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Francis. So, dear fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, as grammarian, I will be paying close attention to all speakers, listen carefully, and note down all the good usages and the usages which need improvement. I'll take note of any misuses of the English language as well as any outstanding uses, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. For today's meeting, the word of the day is jammy, which means lucky. If you describe someone as jammy, you mean that you are lucky because something good has happened to them without their making much effort or deserving such one. For example, he thought sorry, I think I did something here. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give a word of the day report and grammatical usage report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aparna, for briefly explaining your role as a grammarian and introducing the words. So moving on, as I just mentioned earlier, as the session is offline, it's completely different. I know all of you might be used to certain other ways of presenting or speaking in online world. It's completely new, and I agree with it. So since it's an offline world, let's try to speak to people looking at their face. But I know it's going to be difficult initially, but yeah, that's our goal. So I'm just reiterating it. Yeah, so with that, let's start with the session. Over to you, Toastmaster Shyamla.
Thank you, Toastmaster Francis. So before the next session, the next segment begins, a quick show of hands. Who would like to talk about one change in their life and how they navigated the change? A change that was difficult or a change of peace? Put your hands together for Toastmaster Snehal.
You for asking the question. It's a change that has been a very big change in my life because it's something very personal. 5 years ago, I was in Pune and my family was here in Bangalore. There came a time when our dad said he's separating from us and was leaving. And we were kind of a well-off family. Suddenly, everything was going to shatter. So I was trying to move back from Pune to Bangalore. I had some tears every day because it's a big change for us, the whole family, because we never expected such a thing. But eventually, when I came here, me, my sister, my mom, and our grandma, 4 women, with 2 of us doing moderate jobs, because back then I was still in a consultancy company, where I couldn't really earn much for my own living. And that's when I realized that times are hard and we hardly have anything to back up to grow. So thereon, I started concentrating a lot on my career. I started doing certifications one after the other that would help me for my resume, also building my career. And me and my sister, we both made radical career changes. And that was one way where a person, because I'm the last kid, I'm the third daughter in my house, one who used to be very mature and playful has changed to become somebody who's responsible and could take care of the family, also kind of be able to build up the money for myself.
That was an honest expression. Thank you for sharing the vulnerability. It takes a lot of courage to come in a forum like this and talk about changes. Any change in general, to change this person really evokes a lot of courage. And thank you for that. And in advance, we're celebrating the International Women's Day in a few days. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for being here. Without much ado, I would like to call upon the first speech evaluator. Again, as I said, calling him by his name would be undermining his ability. So let me just call him Toastmaster Chivalry. And we all know who that is, Toastmaster Ganesh. And I would invite him to talk about Toastmaster Deepti's speech objectives and hand it over to me. Over to Toastmaster Ganesh.
Sorry, am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, it's a pleasure to introduce Toastmaster Deepti after a rocking start with her icebreaker speech a couple of weeks. She's here marching ahead on her pathway, and she's total presentation mastery. And this the speech title is ironically, I'm not a good communicator. So, and, so I can't wait to hear more of that. The objective of the speech is to discover your communication style, and she'll be taking us through the various communication styles that she is with and the way forward. So, without further ado, big round of applause. For the timer, this is a 5 to 7 minutes speech. Please conscious of that.
So allow me to introduce Toastmaster Deepti. So Toastmaster Deepti is an engineer, a teacher, a Montessori and Brazilian media-inspired homeschooler, and a content creator. Those of us who saw her session as a TMOD know how intensely and deeply she's passionate about her subjects. She's a voracious reader of psychology and pedagogy-related books, and also a K-pop and K-series addict. So please put your hands together for Toastmaster Deepti.
I am not a good communicator. This is a story about how my communication styles are more of a being than a good. This is a story about how my husband was approached by a stranger, a woman, and how their conversation turned my life 180 degrees. Good morning, dear Toastmasters. Before we get into the story, let me share my communication style. I have an equal doses initiating and supporter style. An initiator is a person who's energetic, fun-loving, and spontaneous. A supportive person is calm, a great listener, and detests changes. So let's get back to the story. My husband and the lady, they spoke about child rearing, aka parenting. And hearing my husband's response to one of the questions that no, we do not have TV or screen time for our children. She was extremely motivated to come with us the same day in the evening. We spoke for nearly 3 hours, where she was busy berating her delinquent 3-year-old, and I, well-conceived subtlety, was showing off my knowledge. We were on the zone. I was flying high, mighty impressed with my articulation abilities. And then she broke it. Deepti, I love what you've done with your space. Can you please take my son every day for 4 years? I thought I misheard her. Take her son where? And then she broke it down for me. She wanted to leave her son every day for 4 hours at my place. 2 children, household chores, part-time job, Toastmasters, my plate was full. I am not a good communicator. So I did what I do in difficult conversations. I turned to look at my husband so that he could say no to me. But unfortunately, he disappeared expecting the situation, where it was going. He knew what was going to happen. So he escaped. So I tried saying no. I really tried, or I thought I said no. And I unwillingly and unwittingly became the CEO of a home-run daycare center. The next day, she promptly dropped her son at my home and tried to sneak out. I assumed that she would have told her son that he's going to be here at our place. So I called him and I said, "Say bye to Amma." I'm sure you know where this is going. So he ran out, hugged his mother, and screamed bloody murder. But what happened next broke my heart, because the entire time he was at our place, he kept asking for his mother standing next to him. And this happened the next year. When I broached this topic with his mother, she assumed an air of, "Oh, he'll be absolutely fine by the 3rd week." I was stunned. I was seething with anger and I was feeling miserable with myself. Why did I even say yes to this experience? So So in total Toastmaster fashion, I sat down, I wrote a speech, practiced the entire night, and I was ready. Next day when she came, I was ready. I looked into her eyes and said, one, this is not working. I am not daycare trained. If you want this to work, then for the next 30 minutes, every 5th minute, you're going to tell him honestly that you're leaving and you'll be coming back to pick him up. Honest communication. And it worked. It was surprisingly, it worked for him, it worked for me, it worked for everyone. The best part was, I had restructured the entire experience to fit in with my programs. And I wouldn't be blaming others for my miserable feeling. Working with her, collaborating with her, observing the child, by being true to myself, I also discovered my passion. Child psychology and child development. I am not a good communicator. Yes, my communication is flawed. My life is now rife with purpose. And having a purpose bigger than yourself is very satisfying. Right? What's your view? So dear Toastmasters, in conclusion, no matter your communication style, no matter whether you're a good communicator or a bad communicator, every mistake that we make is a learning opportunity. And in Steve Jobs' framework, every learning opportunity is a dot that will get connected, a dot that will make sense along the path that you undertake towards it. Thank you.
Toastmaster Deepti, what is spelled about? Love it. And in the narrative that she shared, if you all observe, there was both change and growth. Change, it was the child stepping out of the cocoons of his own house and not just seeing his mother, but seeing somebody else in the role of caretaker. Growth, because initially, while she resisted the growth, saying, hey, it will work out and he will adapt, he didn't. The moment Deepti took the change head on, the moment she communicated, growth happened. Growth happened for herself, growth happened for the child, and more importantly, growth happened for the mother. It became a symbiotic relationship. Not all changes are difficult. Some changes indeed turn the caterpillar into the butterfly. On that note, for the next segment, I would like to invite Toastmaster Apoorv to take the topics. Please put your hands together.
Why is it working off the screen? What? We're recording, right? Okay. Good morning, people. And so I'll be the Toastmaster today, and my job is basically to raise everybody's cortisol. Like, is my name being called or not? That is what I wanted to feel. Okay. Keeping up with the theme of the day, which is change, the topics will be in that. So let us first call Toastmaster Arushi or Ayushi. So your topic. Your topic is everybody wants to go to heaven, nobody wants to die.
Good morning, everyone. All the bright people, and I'm loving all of you. Just because this is my first meeting, and also everyone's so amazing. So yes, all of us want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die, and that's so true. We all want to change. We all want to grow, but nobody of us, like all of us, will be resisting the change. I want to eat a lot, and I will grow for sure in terms of my body weight. But I do not want to change my lifestyle, my sedentary lifestyle, because that's difficult. So yes, change is inevitable. And same thing, we all want to do a lot of things. We want to have our names imprinted on big boards. We want to own really fancy cars. So this, that. Nobody wants to actually put in effort. Similarly, death. Death is inevitable. Whatever you do, just like change, it is going to happen, and it is one truth. And for me, I think I have accepted that because I have parents who are very old, as of now, 70 years old. And every day when I stay away from them. They are in Kolkata, back in Kolkata, and I live in Bangalore. So I'm aware that death is inevitable. It is going to happen. But can I just keep crying and worrying about that? No. Rather than I can think, yes, the day God calls them to heaven, they'll be there. They'll be my angels right in the heaven, guiding me throughout. So this is what, and I keep cherishing all the moments that I get in return. You can think I'm being very negative or practical, but I really counted the days because 20 days used to get as leave in a year. So 20 days into how many years did they live? Like 30 years, if possible. I actually calculated 20 into 30 years. How many days can I spend with my parents? Thank God Corona happened. I stayed with my parents. I got this extension bonus of staying with my parents for 2 years. So this is why I believe in those miracles that it will happen. Death is inevitable. Heaven is a growth that we all can. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ayush, for your amazing speech. So for next, who do I make the most? Toastmaster Ganesh, you're up. Is he here? Or are you still with me? Let's see. Toastmaster Ujjawal, you're up next. Okay. So your topic, sir, is change is not a four-letter word, but your reaction to it often is.
Change is not a four-letter word. The reaction is what is. In my mind, you know, I'm always reminded of the beautiful Simon and Garfunkel song where it says, "As the years are rolling by me, and I was wishing there was a car. I'm younger than I once was and older than I will be. That's not unusual. Because after changes upon changes, we are more and more. And that's what I feel when I meet my old friends from school, from college. Technically, you're still the same, the core values and the core person is the same. You go through changes, you transform yourself, and you know, pupas become butterflies and so on. But I think among all the change, there is also something that needs to be constant to be traversing the change. And that's where your core self is. Yeah? So I'm coming back to this. So whatever happens around you is something, but how you react to it, and that is the, you know, that's really the epitome and what you want to, you know, achieve yourself. So I think situations are transient, but your core value expresses or determines your reaction to what happens. And that's, I think, a big learning for me through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ganesh. Okay, so up next is Toastmaster Ujjawal. Your topic is keep your change, give us the dollars.
Keep your change, give us the problem. So, change. First of all, we need to understand what is the actual meaning of change. On a daily basis, whatever you do, if you feel that something is missing, so that thing you can say that I need to change because life will be like a very monotonous, and that thing, if you will change and it will give you some uniqueness. Like I will just tell you one story which happened with me when, as you all know that I am in a HR background, right? So I have already told you about the story which happened a few years before. 1 year I have worked in that company, and when I was up, it's about getting 1 year. I thought that it's time to change because that one monotonous thing. I'm going to the office doing the call center type job, like HR, everything started like a call center, then go back home and again morning same. So I thought that what he has given the topic, like change will come into that dollar of life. So if you will not change, you will not earn something that will directly proportional to the earning a dollar.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Okay, up next is Toastmaster Shashi is here.
Yes.
Coordination. Okay, Toastmaster Snehal, you're up again. So your topic is change is inevitable, except for the store owner.
Okay. It took some time for me to realize the topic, but yes, thank you for that. Yes, change is inevitable, but growth is optional, like the theme. Similarly, our store owners believe in that change is inevitable, and growth is also inevitable according to them. So they would never lose a chance to grow and make more business by not returning you the change and ensuring they give you chocolates, even though you have diabetes or you have any other reasons why you're not supposed to have chocolates. Yet they will be like, oh, I don't have change to take these chocolates. So yes, but then there is a trick what you could do, because if you could ensure that yours sums up to a whole number, then you don't need change. So that's something that you could work on in getting your change back.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Snehal, for that short and sweet speech. Up next is Toastmaster Aparna AK. Sorry, AK. Okay, so your topic is dinosaurs did not believe in climate change either.
Okay, thank you for the wonderful topic. Just dinosaurs. Yeah, I love watching dinosaur movies. I must have watched Jurassic Park like I don't know, maybe 100 times by now. But yeah, dinosaurs do not believe in climate change. They assume that they will be surviving like till eternity or till the end of time, till maybe the whole galaxy collapses or whatever. But eventually, I think change happens. So even when you watch the Jurassic Park movie, life always finds a way, and stuff like that. So every generation, whatever it is, whether it is humans, animals, bacterial life, whatever, everything needs to change. So there is always an end for everything in life, and eventually they get terminated and then something new comes up. So change is inevitable, whether the dinosaurs believed in it or not, whether we believe in it or not, but eventually everything changes.
Thank you, Toastmaster. You're the outcome, right? Thank you about the Jurassic Park stuff.
Oh,
Brings
yeah.
9 grades back.
I love it.
Okay, Toastmaster Prasanna, you're up next. Your topic is I welcome change as long as nothing is altered before or after.
Thanks, Apoorv, for giving me this topic. I'm okay with the change unless and until something is altered, right? I think that is something which is on the mindset initially. Even I was having it, right? As I spoke last time as well, I was born and brought up in a place wherein I was very much reluctant to change. Why? Because it was very comfortable to me, right? Unless and until things are up to your expectation and you're comfortable with it, I think the changes are something which is not needed up to, right? And there was a time that changes has to happen across, and it was a very compulsory that I had to move across. So I was not so comfortable in the initial stage, and it was not so welcoming with the changes because of the new places and stuff. And there was another moment where I was ready for a change. I think that specific phase was very easy, and it was very. I was open to the changes, and then when I moved from Hyderabad to Bangalore, it was very welcoming to me. I was very much prepared that I'm going to move across to a new place, and this is a specific reason that I want to move across. Right? I think always changes. Of course, you cannot avoid that, but unless and until it is up to your expectation and it is going to give you a good opportunity to grow up in your life, I think all those changes are okay. But up to some extent, wherein you have certain boundaries of what the changes defines you. So I think everybody should work across the changes one point at a time in their life. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prasanna. So, Toastmaster Srini, you are next. So this is where you get to the jammy fellow. Okay. So if given a choice, what would you choose? Your wife or your life?
You should record this.
Yeah.
Sorry, technical glitch can happen. I'm telling you.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I think it changes the life. That is the reason we take an extreme step of getting into that danger. Right? Life was better process. You can get up whenever you want, you can do whatever you want. You can take shower, nobody cares. Problem starts when you get married, when somebody comes into your life. That's when you have to start realizing the fact that you are not want to live like a bird or an animal. That's when you realize, force you to change yourself for many good things. That's when we start making more money, we start working longer hours because you have to make more money. There are advantages of being working longer hours, right? Being in the office. So you can avoid certain, it's a good change. Right. I can't imagine my life without my wife. She's a great influencer. Also, some wives, they bring you. I think it's completely. I would advocate everybody who has no goal in life to get married. Take your own goal so that you are more serious about it. Right? Please get married, and you don't have to worry about anything. Life could change.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you, Toastmaster. That really had us in splits. Okay, up next is who's left? Francis left and Deepti are left, right? And you are right. Cool. Then Toastmaster Francis, you are up next. Yeah, so your topic is be the tortoise, not the hare.
Be a tortoise, not a hare. It's a quite an interesting topic. This is a story that we have heard right from our childhood days. You know, both of them look at the goal in two different ways. One of them tries to basically, the hare tries to enjoy the journey. It tries to, look around, look at the people around, enjoy the journey. It takes a long breaks. It enjoys its way as it approaches the goal. But if you look at the tortoise, it is pretty straightforward. It's pretty steady towards the goal. It always keeps its goal in mind and it doesn't look to either of these sides. So there are pretty good advantages and there are disadvantages to both the sides. If you were to look at the way the tortoise reaches its goal, it's pretty straightforward. He's very focused and he is not distracted by the surrounding world that he is in. But he would like to keep the goal and focus and steadily progress towards that goal. But if you look at the higher, as I had mentioned, he is more towards enjoying life. So for a human being like us, I think both of them are equally required. Having a good focus and having enjoying the journey as you progress towards the goal. Both of them are essential for us to have an overall development. So yeah, so that's what I would feel.
Thank you, Thank you, Toastmaster Francis. Toastmaster Shyamla, you are up next. So for forcing this topic of change on us, okay, so there was a company called Idea. It's no longer working, right? And I love its dialogue. Its dialogue, its tagline is an idea can change your life. The bankrupt company says this. Europe.
So the topic is an idea can
Will
change
change
your
your
life. How many of you feel that an idea can change your life or has changed your life? I'm not talking about the company. I'm talking about genuine ideas. So, Apoorv, which idea changed your life?
I did not want to be a slave.
You did not want to be
A slave.
a slave. Okay. How about you?
I am able to think of one, but yes, I aspire to be a CEO, so that is an idea. Now that's the name.
Great. That's an inspirational idea. Anyone else? Toastmaster Ganesh? An idea that changed your life? The idea to get married, was it? Just one moment. Toastmaster up and down.
I never thought I would be able to drive my car, but finally now I drive my own car.
Yes, Toastmaster Srinivas. So we saw so many different changes, right? Somebody didn't want to be a slave, somebody wanted to be a CEO, somebody finally drove their car, and that idea is definitely inspirational for me because I'm directionally dyslexic. And having driven in the US, I can't fathom how I'll drive in India. And this idea is definitely going to make it happen for
Trust
me.
me, I must drive in buses 4 times.
But the idea that I loved the best was Bharat Matrimony changed my life. Indeed, it is true. When Bharat Matrimony changed your life, my idea of falling in love with this gentleman changed my life. Over to you, TTM of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shyamla. Nice switcher. She made us all talk.
Oh,
It
yeah.
took us 45 seconds.
You always do that when you audience involvement.
Okay, so I'm the only one left in with your topic.
Yes. There you are. Please.
I think
Cool. Toastmaster Deepti, I do have a topic.
I remember this.
I love listening to you speak. So yeah.
Already spoken a lot about change, man.
I know I can give a speech again.
Okay, so this is a thought that I've actually inculcated this year, and the thought goes like this: we do not think ourselves into a new way of living; we live ourselves into a new way of thinking.
We do not think ourselves. Yeah, please can you repeat it?
We do not think ourselves into a new way of living; we live ourselves into a new way of thinking.
I would say that I don't completely agree with you because when I became a mother, I think that was the biggest change that happened. Very trusting, I was very energetic, fun-loving, initiator kind of a person. But when I had my child in my hand, I was absolutely curious what to do with it because he or she had a lot of needs. And I was not trying for taking care of anybody, not even myself. Like basic, basic sense of hygiene also is something that I maintain only for outgoing purposes. If I'm going out, yes, I will dress up very well. At home, I'm a pretty much a sloth. So when the child was in my hand, I wanted to be my best version. So now I had to think of ways how I could be best person. And trust me, thinking about it is what that idea is what actually got me started on the change lane. So yes, I don't agree with you. Thank you, and yes, that's me.
Yeah. She rushed off like I'm done. Thank you.
Giving a fabulous topic to our TM.
Yep.
Cinderella's proof that a new pair of shoes can change your life.
That was rejected.
Cinderella's proof that a new pair of shoes can change your life.
So Cinderella is one of the oldest kind of fairy tales that we ever read. But here's something, a new pair of shoes. A shoe is a metaphor. Like if you remember Rachel from Friends, the shoe is a metaphor. Right. So the metaphor here is the shoe could be an idea, right? A thought, a new person, anything. So in my case, when I mentioned with Toastmasters Shyamla that I did not want to be a slave. So this happened to me approximately last year, approximately this time. So we started smoking in college when we thought it was cool. Everyone's doing it. We can do it. Parents are not here. Do whatever you want. No one's checking nothing, right? And so about last year, one of the core concepts of mine is freedom, personal freedom, right? I will never impinge on your freedom, and I will never allow you to impinge on mine. So my thought process was, am I getting a slave, becoming a slave to nicotine? And after doing a bit of pro conscious, I'm like, yes, I am. And the moment I understood this, like, oh my, I'm a slave to something, that is actually the day I smoked my last cigarette. So many people say that, I quit something cold turkey. I can't do that. I am, by natural person, I'm a very addicted person. I started PVCs, I finished it one day, then I'm like, what did I do with my life? Yes. So if I'm playing a sport, I go all out and I come back like, okay, tomorrow I'm not moving it out, my legs hurt. Like if I'm running, I will like, okay, today is running, so let's run 5 kilometers and come back. Okay, so that's the kind of person I am. But this idea, for the first time in my life, I acted from my own core self-belief, and that is, I refuse to be a slave to any person or anything. So this was my Cinderella's new shoe. And thank you, Toastmasters Shyamla, for that speech.
Jammy, which means lucky. Lucky without being worthy of it. Like you don't really deserve it, you didn't work for it, but you just got it.
And spell that.
JAMMY.
I think it was my jammy day today. The table topic master really did a tangle with me. On that note, without much ado, since we've already talked about changes, and this is a change for PMTM, where people are so forthcoming about changes. And in the first in-person meeting, it's really brought a lot of energy and fun, and we also got to know each other at a personal level. So without much ado, moving on to the evaluation segment, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Francis. Take over from here.
Thank you, Toastmasters Shyamla, for inviting me to give the final evaluation. So here we are in the third and the last section of our entire Toastmasters meeting, and that is the evaluation section. So to start off with, let's have the speech evaluation by Toastmaster Deepti. So Toastmaster Deepti's speech is evaluated by Toastmaster Ganesh. So I would like to call you. Please help me like Toastmaster Ganesh. Evaluation.
Certainly feel challenged. Had the opportunity to evaluate Toastmasters. What a brilliant speech, very well articulated. It's really testimony to the fact that you're on the way to being an accomplished speaker. A couple of things I really liked about the speech. First is the audience connect. The way you set the topic, introduced it, you got it, everybody had to experience, and the way you set up the climax to what was going to happen was really amazing. The second aspect was about your diction, the way the expressions, the dialogues you use, the way you use the stage as well, the body gestures that complement were all, the tones of great speech. Yeah? A couple of things which I would recommend to make. One is, I think the speech was about different communication styles. So maybe in the content itself, the different styles that you tried and what worked, what didn't work, what was the effect, would have added a lot more. Secondly, I would say that there was probably room for a little more dramatics. Yeah, because the topic was so great. You had a little kid, you had your husband, you had your wife, and there's a lot of opportunity for more dialogues to happen. But having said that, I also love the diction, the use of words like really, and being the CEO of very good language. And I think all in all, it was a great speech. Good audience, good articulation, and great action. A couple of weeks and we're on the road to presentation mastery. Thank you.
Great evaluation of Master Ganesh. So as you might have all noticed, he's anyway a great evaluator. He's been evaluating in the area and district level. So just to mention that. And going forward, we have our tag team members here. Tag team timer. Okay, I'll call the timer at the end. I'll call the Grammarian.
Thank you, Toastmaster Francis. Found a lot of good word usages today. I would like to start. We can start off with Toastmaster Srinivas, where he used influencer, which was I found it to be a pretty good word. And Toastmaster Ujjawal, monotonous, uniqueness. Toastmaster Francis used great connections, steadily in progress, overall development. There was one small grammatical usage that I found was improper, wherein you used the sentence look at it two different ways. It should have been look at it in two different ways. And Toastmaster Apoorv used cortisol metaphor. Then we have Toastmaster Deepti. I love the speech. And she's used a lot of good words like 180 degrees, test changes, delinquent, articulation, restructured, flawed, best version. And the quotes that she used, some of them were like pain in a room, speak blood water, seething with anger, purpose bigger than yourself. So some of the quotes I found. Then we have Toastmaster Shyamla, who used the word of the day. Thank you for that. And then her good words were vulnerability, evokes, chivalry, voracious, spellbound. And she had also used good quotes like audience involvement, did a tango, that was very nice. And then we have Toastmaster Arushi, who used sedentary lifestyle, cherish. Then we have Toastmaster Snehal, who used shattered and radical. Then we have Toastmaster Ganesh, who also used a lot of good words like rocking start, core values, transform, epitones, dramatics, articulation. And we also used good quotes like set up the climax. Yeah, Toastmaster Ganesh also used the word of the day. Sorry about that, I missed that. Yeah.
Thank you, Toastmaster. But that's the first time I think probably in the history of Toastmasters somebody getting a laptop and then present again. So yeah, so she's probably very used to laptop after the lockdown.
I'm so used to, tracking everything.
Yeah, tracking everything. No laptop, Excel is edited.
What is notable was the ease at which it's holding it.
नहीं वो क्या है ना खाना भी बना लेती हूँ तो sometimes मैं okay वैसे फॉलो करके खाना बना लेती हूँ 12 बजे मेरा कॉल्स होता है every day तो 12 बजे भूख लगने लगती है I'm not comfortable with that और हाँ गिर जाता है पता चला खाने में गिर गया
Okay. Yeah. So good one. Great evaluation, Toastmaster. Very clear. Moving forward, we have our Counter Toastmaster Prasanna. Please come forward.
I didn't see many people use it. That's, I think Toastmaster Francis used 3 times so. And other than that, I don't see anybody use much influence.
I don't.
Yeah, you did 2 times you used hand. Otherwise,
That's not polish. So yeah, good evaluation.
I think after the first time I did the Counter because Francis doesn't want to give me
No, I think you have the wrong side.
So this time the Grammarian liked it.
Oh, my, okay. So moving on, we have the last on the list, the timer, Toastmaster Srinivas, who will be giving the timing that each of us took on the stage to give our point of view.
Thank you, Toastmaster Francis. Once again, good morning, dear Toastmasters. We've started almost half an hour late. Still, we are 10 minutes ahead. Time. This is what happens an offline session. In an online session, we only depend on verbal communication. That's all we see. When we meet like this, most of our communication happens through non-verbal, which is, that's why all of us have not gone beyond the green card. We were able to communicate what we could in the shortest possible time, at the same time retain the quality of the speech. Toastmaster Deepti, he took 5 minutes 20 seconds. Toastmaster Ganesh, he took 1 minute 47 seconds to communicate what we usually take 3 minutes, which is the true communication. And Toastmaster Ayesha took only one who took more than 2 minutes to table topics. This are all well within the guidelines.
Thank you, Toastmasters Srinivas, for that great evaluation. Yeah, moving forward, coming to the last general evaluation of the entire session, I'll quickly give the evaluation. After that, we can have, probably our club has got a couple of awards, so we can just hand it over to our team members, our club members, and take a few pictures, and also have like a small networking session. So yeah, coming to the entire session's evaluation, our meeting started a bit late, around 9:17. That is a bit late. So since this is the first session and a lot of us had an issue coming to the location, so it's pretty understandable. So yeah, so let's keep that in mind. So next time, let's try to make it on time. Presiding officers, the role was kind of missing because Toastmaster Shyamla took both the positions, so there was no proper differentiation between the presiding officer and the TMOD. So we can take care of that next time. And also, we missed declaring the meeting open. So that was something that we used to do every time in an offline session. We used to have a gavel or something, and then we used to declare the meeting. So let's follow that for the next time. And finally, the TMOD Toastmaster Shyamla did a great job. The team was amazing. All of us could relate to the team, and it was pretty interesting. Tag team did a great job. I'll come to the suggestions later on, but the introduction part was pretty well. So yeah, so that's all right. And nothing, no comments on Toastmaster Apoorv's topics. Definitely needed 2 types of telling it to the crowd for us to kind of understand. So great job done there. In fact, I told him also, let's not give the Toastmaster Apoorv style table topic session, but he went forward with it. So yeah, great session. I really like the topics. And then finally, one suggestion that I have for the Grammarian is, not for the Grammarian, for the general meeting is, let's try to print the word of the day and keep it somewhere so that people can be used to that since we changed it this first week. So I'm just reminding one of us, we'll keep a paper printed on a chair or somewhere close by so that people can actually see the word of the day. Use it multiple times. And I cannot refrain from using the same usage that Toastmaster Ganesh did. Basically, I feel so jammy to be evaluating the first offline Toastmasters session. So yeah, it's my pleasure to meet all of you, all the new members, and give a evaluation. So I think Toastmaster Deepa was there online for a very long time. She was there for a very long time. I just saw her beginning to the end. So yeah, we'll ask her solutions later because she's been observing this. So she might have pretty good comments. The meeting went well. I mean, this is the place that we usually had. Before we used to be in another place, but I think this is a very good place. All of you agree with me? Yeah, this one's there.
What we will be doing is we'll be uploading these table topics individually.
You can come here.
Thank you. So what we'll be doing is we'll be uploading these table topic videos individually, and then I'll be signing evaluators for each other. So basically, what Toastmaster Deepa does in the WhatsApp, we're gonna have that where once this is uploaded somewhere in the week, if you guys can actually drop a evaluation for whoever you are evaluating on the WhatsApp group, that'll be enough. Okay, thank you guys.
So basically, Toastmaster Apoorv is trying to bring in a new vertical, basically starting a small evaluation for the table topics, right? So that's something that we want to really start, and I feel it would be helpful for all the members. Yeah, moving forward, Toastmaster Shyamla, do you want to add anything?
Yes, please. So before I close up the TMOD so it was indeed a change to have the first in-person meeting. So quick pulse check. How did everybody feel about the in-person meeting? One word to describe. Satisfied, great, amazing, amazing. Very sweet, extremely happy.
A good way to experience being offline for very long.
And that's a very pertinent feedback that all of us as the EXCOM will also take. For those of us who joined during the offline sessions, it is important that we kind of bring in what happens in an online session. So the little step that you talked about of starting the meeting and handing over from one segment to the other, maybe doing it in an online, in an in-person session and kind of ensuring that everybody is sensitized to that would be great. Toastmaster Srini?
Absolutely enjoyed it. It is difficult.
Thanks to Bharat Matrimony.
Sitting in front of the laptop, to get up at 8,
Yes.
travel,
Absolutely.
I would say there needs to be a difference from the other days. Sunday should be different. I feel even taking the effort, even I say really positive, confidence and definitely because other days, even Sunday feels like another working day. There's no difference between the working day and I feel that this kind of atmosphere is kind of important and express a lot to learn a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ganesh.
Good day.
Good day, great. Toastmaster Ujjawal.
Because it's the first meeting which I am doing offline because I am not in a lockdown here. And the biggest question is next week we are coming here or it will be online.
So we'll come back to that, but I'm great that in the present moment you had an awesome time. Over to this Toastmaster Apoorv.
I felt that Toastmaster used to come right after we
Yeah.
moved into office. Where Toastmaster very long time, but I'm hearing something that he did never had.
No, he hasn't come.
But he did that, but he doesn't.
So for me, I'll have to do a bit more time management to fix it faster. But yeah, I love the semi-formal setting of this. It's a bit, it's a lot more lighthearted. As Susan mentioned, this Sunday was different.
Yes, this Sunday was different. And the very fact that when we get to meet people in person, the dynamics changes. It becomes more personable and also giving speeches in a setting where you don't have a computer screen to look at. Because more often than not, this is how we would deliver speeches. So it's a good stepping stone. And you have to.
Yeah, only in this setting when Toastmasters Shyamla push off a dirty cup.
It takes a lot of ingenuity, my friend, and tons of years of experience. Okay, so on another note, on a more serious note, I think it's time for the awards. So, Toastmaster Snehal, may I please welcome you, and Toastmaster Arushi.
Let's call everybody on stage.
Yeah, and then you can tell us which award it is, and then they can present it for me.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is it. Yeah, you can-
Aspects. They take the 5 TCPs first. Within December 15th.
Basically, 1 year is a term starting from June 2021.
So let's all of us come. Yeah, all of us come. It's an award to the club, so
You can, president can take.
yeah, president,
It would
stay in the
be-
picture.
There are so many clubs who do not
Everybody finding together.
Yeah.
You achieve it within 2 months.
Guys, get in.
That's thanks to the able EXCOM and all the people who have preceded us, on whose shoulders we stand.
This time to hugging person. Cheese guys.
Selfie.
Yeah. This was I'm pretty sure the expert in this.
Cheese guys.
So yeah, to brief clearly, there are multiple types of awards and to be distinguished. There's educational awards, so all of you completing your levels counts towards the educational awards. There's a membership because all of you joining and being part of the club counts towards it. And again, with respect, yeah, because
Everything that you do day in and day out contributes to this collective effort. And very few clubs in the whole history.
Oh, nice.
It means that you almost completed up the points in less than like halving. It's two terms for which you will be attending. Quite much. This is gratitude to Francis because
Sorry, I forgot.
To the efforts of the entire club.
this is to you, but the reason that your exceptional contribution in club as well as in India. That's a big one.
Good Toastmaster, that's something that made me the past future.
Display these
So,
awards next time in the offline meetings that you can the technology put there.
So I think Toastmasters Shyamla, if I may add something, I think so I think one of the most important things I think we're certainly jamming that we have our division director Snehal with us, as well as Arushi from division
Division G director
Division
last
G.
year, she's current division.
current division mentor. So really wonderful to have all of you. I think this is the first time in our Meadows club that we have both the division with us. So it'd be great. Maybe we can hear your comments and feedback as well as on the session and what better we can do, to make it better.
So one thing is the moment Shyamla told me it's going to be an in-person meeting, I'm sorry I couldn't make it last weekend, but the moment she said, I was obviously very happy, but my mom was going to come with the weeks. I was like, what is this? And somehow yesterday I get a call and they say my mom's flight is getting postponed. And then I immediately told her, okay, I'm coming tomorrow. And after I came here and sat through the meeting, first thing that I wanted to do is once my mom is here, I definitely will be doing her because that's how much I love the meeting and the interactions with her and found it really warm that I feel like doing nothing else.
Thank you.
My emotions about this. And all of you.
Sure. Thank you very much.
I love each role taker who came here. How can a club have all the lovely people together? That's what I was wondering. That's a challenge. I love each. Like I have this. I live in a very back in Kolkata. I used to live in an urban area where it used to be very noisy. So I have an auto noise cancellation policy in my ear. So if I don't like someone, I just like I'm not listening. But here I listen to the first till the end. Now, ask me anything about anyone's speech, I can really come at 10. So I love that speech that much. Love that meeting that much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Can we expect you?
Stay far, but you can
Yes.
And also just another announcement, the PSN club is going to have the club level contest, National Speakers Contest. So I think they will go to the chief judge and Toastmaster Francis is also one of the judges in that.
Nobody heard it.
Technical glitch will happen at this time. Not get recorded.
Yeah.
No, chief judge.
That's true.
Chief judges know judges are that there's no bias ever. Like in case anyone's not taking the result, they don't come and say, okay, Francis, you made this.
There's literally, I don't know, there are so many people in the club, so there's no track of
The chief judge is known because the chief judge usually does not march. He or she is only responsible to arrange those judges and they will